Alright, so this is a 2008 Polaris Sportsman. I'm going to show you how to fix the transmission here. So, you're going to take out 4 bolts holding the floorboard on here, and those are 10mm. 2 there, 2 there. Take off the retaining bolts here. It's a 10mm nut on the back of a Phillips head screw, just on the front and back there. So take that off. And at this point, you want to wash the machine. Get this really, really clean, because you don't want dirt or anything getting into this while you have it apart. So wash this all down, everything, engine, under the fenders. Alright, so you want to put this in, put the gear selector in neutral and mark along the splines here. Take a marker, take a screwdriver, make a little mark so you know where this aligns when you put it back together. Alright. So we're going to take off the gear selector first. This is a 10mm bolt holding the bottom. If I can get to it. So take that out. And then 2 10mm holding the shifter on here. Alright, at this point you can take off the shifter assembly. It might be a little hard to pull off. Oh, might be a little hard to pull off the splines. So just put a screwdriver in there and pry it apart while you pull out. There we go. Alright, from here, the sprocket cover is coming off. That's a flathead screwdriver or Phillips head, doesn't matter. It'll take both of them, so don't lose your screws holding it on. Alright, so from here we can take off the sprocket, which is also 2 10mm holding that on. So loosen those up. There's a sprocket retaining clip, just rotate it to the left a little bit. Rotate it to the left a little bit and then it pulls straight out. From there, just pull the sprocket right off. We're gonna let that sit down there, just let it rest. Now we can remove the case bolts. Alright, so case bolts I'm referring to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of those, and they're 8mm. So just remove all those. Try to keep them organized. They're all the same length, so it doesn't really matter if you mix them up. Alright, take them out. Alright, so from here you can take the cover off by you can hold on to the sprocket output shaft here. You want to keep the shifter with the splines on it here in the case itself. So pull the case out, keep this in. Just keep a little pressure on it, pushing inward. Alright, now we're into the, if I can, alright, now we're into the gearbox. Now, straight away, you can see the splines, the teeth are all gone, this is stripped out. Where it rides against the output shaft here for the sprocket. I'm going to show you what the new one looks like. See, this one has teeth on it that aren't ground away. So you can see the difference here. And what this does, fits into your case like so. And drives that gear. And with the teeth missing, it just doesn't do anything. Just spins. So you don't have forward or reverse gears. So, alright. The main thing, if you don't find the teeth to this gear sitting in the bottom of the case, they're going to be sitting in this case here. You can see all the broken teeth in here off of that gear. So you want to make sure you get all these broken pieces out of the transmission. So clean all this out with some brake cleaner or carb cleaner or whatever. Now, to remove this, your shifter forks here, you're going to pull out the shaft on the shifter fork. Just let it sit in there for now. And it pulls straight out. So there we go. Alright, so ideally you want to do this in a clean area, like I said. So when you drop something in the dirt, make sure you clean it off really well. Alright. From here. See, aim this camera. So, our new one and our old one. Alright, so here, there's a bushing on the end of our shaft here that needs to be pulled off. You're going to need a steering wheel puller, or I should say a gear puller, to take this whole gear off. So, alright, so let's see how this goes. Alright, so taking apart now. We're just going to swap everything over. So we have bushing, the gear, washer, yep. Alright, so there's a snap ring holding this on. So use your snap ring pliers to remove that. Okay. There's a little washer there. Just take that off with the gear. Put it on the new one. Alright, snapped into place. It's good to go. Now, just reassemble. Same order. You took it off in. Alright. So when you reassemble this here, yep. Washer goes on the outside. Bushing goes back on. You'll see there's a couple little indentations on the one side of it. See the top and the bottom? Those go on the inside. So put it on like that. You're going to need something to drive this back on with. You know, in my case, I'm using a socket. Let me grab a better socket. Hold on. Alright, it's almost done. Okay. A little bit more. Now the gear is on, how it's supposed to be. A little bit more. Okay. So now from here you just reassemble. Let's go do that. Alright, to reassemble this, your shift fork, just make sure it's where it needs to be. Slides that. Okay. Just goes right back in the slot it came out of. Everything's tight. Push that in. Make sure they're all in. Your fork's in place. Alright, put this back in for the shift fork. and that brings it up where it needs to be. So from here, you just reassemble. Alright, so you've cleaned out all the pieces that are in here. At this point, you want to clean up your gasket surface, put a new gasket on it. I'm still waiting for a gasket to show up, so I'm just going to show you how to put this back together for now. But you want to put a new gasket in it. And the case should slide right back on. And then, yeah, from here, put it back in, put everything back together how we took it apart. So we're going to put the bolts in. And we're going to put the shifter on. And like I said, when you're taking this apart, make sure it's in the middle position here. It's neutral. So when you bolt it back on, you know what I'm saying, everything will line up to where it needs to go. Case bolts go back in, and the sprocket can go back on. Alright, so at this point you can add your oil, which is Polaris AGL. Is what they recommend. And you know, when you add the oil, just you fill it until it starts to come out of the overfill here, just to when it's right even with this. And from there you're all set. You should have a working unit again.